Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Choir Directors Academy Session 2. We're going to do vocal techniques on today. My name is Angela Garrett. For those of you, this is your first time viewing in. I am an award-winning choir director and your host for tonight. I'm glad that you all decided to join me. Listen, we're just going to relax and we're going to enjoy ourselves and we're going to take in information. And as you come in, please hit like and click share. Those of you that are on YouTube, hit the subscribe button on one of these corners and let your friends know about it so that we all can learn and grow. Before we get into the actual vocal techniques, I want to recap what we did last week for those of you who this is your first time. We discussed about being a choir director, the technicalities of what the job actually entails, that you make sure that the members attend choir rehearsal, you make sure they perform at their best, you're responsible for the material, the music, and everything else that goes along with it. Also, I suggested that you talk to your leader. That's important. So make sure that you all on the same page. Your ministry is not different from your leader's ministry. You want to make sure that you're in sync with leadership. Also, I talked about you need to ensure that everything is in order from vocal harmonies all the way to the stage formation, even during the performance. It's really okay, unless you're in a competition, of course. But it's really okay if your choir is singing and they're a little off. It's okay to correct them. You just do it gracefully or, however you do it, just have finesse with it, but correct them. It's better to correct them than to let them do the entire song incorrectly. As you come in, leave your name or a comment so I know who you are. Then we also talked about leadership skills. What's your vision for the choir? Are you going to be a competition choir or are you going to be a recording choir or just a choir? You need to be organized as a choir director. You need to have enthusiasm for your job. You need to be firm but positive. You maintain control in your rehearsals. You need to know your material. That's key. You need to know your material as a director. We talked about not depending on other choir members to know the song and to assist you in teaching parts. You should be able to do that on your own. We went through that. You should be able to teach the choir a cappella. Just in case your musicians don't show up or they go on strike. You should be able to teach that song a cappella. Also, you need to develop communication skills. Hey, Andrew, how are you? Yes, you need to develop communication skills. And I was talking about, when you're directing, you make sure if you do whatever signals you do, whatever, make sure they understand where you're going. Thank you for the hearts. Make sure they understand where you're going. Because if nobody knows where you're going, it's a train wreck. And, things are preventable. They are preventable. And then that brings us to today's session, being knowledgeable in vocal techniques. Now, that's an area that I have so many people talking to me about. How did you get that choir? How do you get 10 people to sound like 50 or 25 or whatever? It took time. I'm not going to tell you there is no easy fix, but there are some things that you can do that can make it easier. But remember, you have to teach them how to do it, right? So that means it needs to be innate, or you need to practice to make it a part of your spirit or a part of you so that you can translate it and give it to them. One of the things is I have about 8 things, and then I have some other little instances. I hope I be able, hey, Aaron, I hope I be able to cover them all. And I'm just giving you the highlights because it's so much. As I was writing and trying to get my thoughts together, things that I can share with you, it's so much. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to overwhelm everybody. So I may have to split this in half and do the other part next week. But just to get started, number one, in order to help them to sound better, you need to make sure you encourage them to drink water. You'd be surprised. A lot of times we think most people wait till they start singing or they get up in front of the people and they start, hey, Darnies, they get in front of the people and all of a sudden they start drinking water after every swig. No, you know what? Honestly, I drink plenty of water all the time. Mostly what you do off the stage is what you do on stage. I remember when I was a lead alto hey, you're welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. when I was singing background, I was a lead alto for Dr. Edwin Hawkins. And I kept, they told us keep yourself hydrated, wrap your throat up. That's really not just to look cute. It really, you need to keep the cold air off your throat if you're singing. So honestly, I didn't have to drink water during the recording. I think I went through like 5 songs, and I was the lead alto, so I'm right in front. Everybody's following me. I was the lead of the leads. Everyone was following me. And they're looking at me like, why aren't you drinking water? Everybody's swigging after every song. I'm like, because I keep myself hydrated. So drinking water is not just doing the body good. It's actually helping you for your singing. So encourage your choir members to drink water. Keep themselves hydrated. Because you lose breath. You get tired faster when you're not hydrated. Second thing, posture. And I hope you all can kind of see me the way I'm sitting. I'm sitting straight up. And the reason being is when you're breathing, most of us in church choirs, we don't breathe, right? We sing everything from the throat. La! We do everything from the throat. I don't care what it is. And they screaming. If they're in tune or out of tune, they're screaming. And I'm just like, oh my God, you're in your throat. You're killing the vocal cords. They're going like this, literally. They're going back and forth like, oh my God. Really? Seriously. So, your posture, because what you want to do, you want to breathe from your diaphragm. The diaphragm pushes the air up, and what you want to do is keep that open and let the sounds float on the air. Okay, case in point, if I'm singing glory, glory, hallelujah, since I laid my burden down, I'm right here. So if I start trying to sing, glory, glory, hi Miriam, glory to hallelujah, I'm right here. I can't do it because I'm running out of air and I'm cutting it off. If you hear, you're cutting the air off. But what you do is you sit properly. You have to sit properly and you learn to breathe. But your posture is first, because if you sit slumped over like most of us do in choir rehearsal, we know we do. We sit slumped over, slumped down. And you're trying to teach somebody a song and they sitting all kinds of way, you're blocking the air. So the best thing to do is train them, tell them sit up. And this is not something that they're going to do like right away. You have to be enthused with it when you do it. Make it comical. I had to, because half the people, you got people. Thank you. Okay. You got people in the choir. You got people in the choir that's been singing for a while and they know what to do. And then you got those that are with you 100%. And then you got those to criticize. So it's going to take some time. But remind them all the time to sit up straight so that the notes and the air can flow straight up and out. Okay. You got that straight up and out. It has to. You're restricting it. And that's when you see people clearing their throats all the time. If you're singing from here and you're not sitting up properly, you're always in the throat. You're always clearing your throat. And, it really puts a wear and tear on your throat or on your larynx, actually, and the vocal cords within there. It does. So you don't want to do that. You want to train everybody. And you know what? Start doing it yourself. When you rehearse with them, well, most of the time we're standing, but sometimes I sit. So when I may be on the organ. So I'm sitting there and I have to sit up straight because they start doing exactly what you do. So make that a habit of sitting up straight. And your posture, your back up and your neck is level with your lap. Okay? Make sure you do that. The second thing is the breathing. You ever hear a choir? And I did not warm up. I didn't do anything before this. So I can kind of give you an idea. And if you heard me just a few seconds ago, I'm breathing. I did work out, but I didn't warm up or anything. So when I'm doing the exercises, you can kind of hear what I'm doing. All right, the breathing. Learning to breathe properly when you're singing is key. I can't tell you how many choirs that I hear when they're singing and you hear them breathing between the song. Like, one in particular is it's an Easter song by the Tommies, and they're saying Jesus rose and he lives, and you hear him going, he rose and he lived. And I'm looking at him like, are you serious? First of all, I didn't understand a word you just said, and second of all, then when they sit down, they all like, no. This is the second phase. When you're sitting up properly, You have to learn to breathe. You should be able to read an entire sentence on one breath. So if you're reading a sentence and the air is leaving too fast, you out of breath by the time you get to the end of that sentence, like this. I'm going to read this once, and I'm going to purposely run out of air so you understand what I'm saying. Okay, learning and mastering proper breathing is one of the keys to instantly improve your ability to sing. Okay, I have no control over my breath. I kind of rushed it a little bit to give you an idea. When you inhale, you don't have to exaggerate. You know, like some people, no, you don't have to do that. You just take in some air and you just relax. You have to practice breathing in slowly and inhale and exhale. Okay, so you breathe in and you just says learning and mastering proper breathing is one of the keys to instantly improve your ability to sing. And then the remaining air comes out. Get them to do that. Even if you just recite some words to any song, just get them to recite those words and just say it all in one sentence. Tell them to breathe in and just let it out a little by little. Okay, all of this it seems like, oh my God, are you serious? No, but as they get used to it, when they get used, after, you know, you might have to get used to them talking a little loud, but after they get used to it, you will see a difference in your sounds. Trust me, you will see I know it's work, but you will see a difference in the sound. When they sit up straight and they sing with the proper breathing and let the air out, and you will hear, if you just have them hum one note, la, you know, just practice, and you will see how after a while it'll start sounding full. Like it's more, you may have 3 people singing it, but they're in one voice, and it begins to sound more fuller, more richer, because the sounds are floating on air instead of you forcing it. We're used to, we just sing in the gospel choirs, we're used to pushing the air. We push to sing, because that's what you know, if you're not pushing, if you're not, you know, if you're not doing it that way, then they tell us we're not singing, you're not reaching anybody. But you're doing damage to yourself. But if you want to sing properly, and you want to last, you know, when you get through singing at least one song, you should not be out of breath and we got to retire and sit down for 10 minutes till you get yourself together. It shouldn't be that way. That means that there's improper breathing going on. The next thing we're going to go to would be tips and techniques. In vocal training, I do have a vocal coach, and that's something that everybody should kind of invest in, is a vocal coach, if you can. If you can. I have one, and if she probably will see this video. Hi, Sandra. And I'm sure she will correct me. She'll tell me, you did not warm up before you did that video. No, I did not. Purposely, for a reason. When we're singing, we have our chest voice. We have three spots: the head, the throat, and the chest. Okay, the chest is basically where we speak from day to day. And if you put your hand there, you can feel the vibration. That's your normal speaking voice. Okay, and then you have a head voice, which you hear people when they're singing high notes, and you know, it's like some people when they sing the high notes is kind of thin, and it sounds like they're kind of screaming. Okay, they're not using the empty spaces in your head. We do have empty spaces in there, and I'm not going to get all into the neurological side of it. But yes, we do have empty spaces up in there. But when we sing properly and the air is traveling up, it resonates in your head. When you sing the very high notes, the lyrics, you know, the real high soprano, you know, like 2 C's above, 2 octaves, or 2 C's above middle C. Yeah. They learn how to resonate, let the air come up and resonate in the empty spaces of the head, and they just sing, and it sounds beautiful. Okay, we all have that, but basically we don't use it. We basically stay in the throat because it's comfortable, it's quick, and it's comfortable. But when you want to change the sound of your choir, you want to change the dynamics, you want to change the feeling of it, then it takes a little work, and it takes a little, because remember, don't get frustrated, because remember, they are used to doing it a certain way. You've been doing it for a while. All of this is leading up to me getting to the harmonies, because I know a couple of people messaged me and said, well, lead us into the harmonies, and I'm going to do that too. But we start in the chest, and then we go up to the head. Generally, we have a mixed area, which is between here and the chest, is where most people sing, and you can sing comfortably if you're breathing properly. And that's where I train my choir to sing. Now, when I had some young people in my choir, the young men who were going through the change, I had to move them. You know, they were used to singing kind of high, so I had to move them to the tenor section so that they can kind of stay in the lower side. It was easy because when I had them singing lower, like, oh, I didn't get that cracking in their voice. Because, you know, if you try to go too high, they're going to start, it's like, oh. So I would keep them low, always low tones. I would try to find a song that was kind of where I can give them the lower part or the bass part, even though everyone else singing up high. Their notes were really tenor notes, but in comparison to the other three voices, they sang bass. So I did that with them in order to keep their tones rounded and soft and maneuverable in that range so that whatever was going on with their change, you couldn't hear it. Now, warm-up exercises, we all should warm up. Choir directors, we should warm up. And you know what? Sometimes when we think warm-ups, we think it's got to be something way out. No, not really. Warm up, you can warm up in your car. I do that when I'm on my way to choir rehearsal. It only takes about 5 minutes. I have quite a few vocal techniques, warm-ups, because when you have to warm up and you have to warm down. You can't just warm up and do all this singing in rehearsals and then leave. No, you have to warm down, bring the voice down. All right, in the warming up, one of them I do when I'm in the choir, in my car on my way to choir rehearsal, is an E. And I start at a low note. And one thing I wanted to mention to you all, when you're doing your warm-ups, I don't know, some of us, we don't have that, what the choir directors call it, a pitch pipe, where it looks like a round circle of fifths, and you can blow in it and give pitches. You should have one of those, or you can download a piano. I don't know if you all can hear that. I have my little microphone here, and it's not picking up. Whatever your key is, A flat or G sharp, A sharp, whatever key you're in, it doesn't matter. Just pick a key. For now, we're just going to pick a key. And I usually start with the vowels. The vowels are the best. You can do consonants if D or whatever. But the vowels are the best warm-ups because you go through the entire phase. You can go from the entire phase of the chest all the way up to the head easily. You go through the entire run as far as changing from the chest all the way up. And let me give you an idea. I'm going to start with D sharp or E flat. Well, let me take it down below middle C. Okay, if it decides to move. E, and then you just start. E. Okay, it sounded like I was in my throat, but I actually was wide open. E. Now, if you were listening, I did a blip in my voice. You heard a crack because I didn't warm up before I started singing. You should always warm up. And I know it sounds like, oh my God, are you serious? But you'd be surprised. That's why when you hear people singing and they're like, ah, and you hear them go, ah, they're straining. It reduces the straining because your vocal cords, when you talk, you use your vocal cords are not really working. They are, but they're not. But when you're singing, you're putting pressure. It's a pressure and air coming up. And your vocal cords are not, they need to be warmed up. Just like when you exercise, you have to stretch. When you do your voice warm-ups, you have to do that too. So E, and we do ah. Okay? I know it sounds funny, but you have to do this. I'm giving you my tips now. You want to know how I got to where I am. So you need to do that with your choir. If you want to do a church song, you can do that. Oh, that was all what he's done for me. Oh, and you just keep doing that. Oh, make up your own tune. Just long as you're warming up and you got your chest, your air passageway up and open. You're sitting up straight. And you just do that 2 or 3 times. If you hear your voice cracking, you can feel it when you're doing it. And your voice may crack a little bit, but you just keep doing it. Oh. And then I went a little deeper. I just like that tune. I just made it up. I like it. I don't know. But anyway, but you do that. You just, oh, and that opens you up. Now, after you get through your rehearsals and everything, you need to warm down. You can do the same thing to warm down, just to bring yourself and your voice, vocal cords down. Because rehearsals can go, 45 minutes to an hour? That's a lot of work. Hey, Melissa, that's a lot of work. So what you want to do is do that same run and bring your voice down to a restful state. Okay? These are things that I did with my choir. And they do it on their own now. They know to work out. They practice singing before they even come to rehearsal. So I don't have to say anything because I had to get them in that frame of mind, because nobody wanted to be in rehearsal clearing their throats. Because then, I'm one of those directors that will look at you. Yes, I will. I'm not mean, but if I'm talking to you and I'm telling you, do it this way, whatever. And if you start clearing your throat, the whole choir will look at you like, you apparently didn't do what she said. That's just how we are. But warm-ups, warm up and warm down. And you know what? When you do that, have them doing it, you're actually training them. You are. You're actually training them to breathe properly, because when my choir is doing it, I'm doing movements and motions so they know to follow. You got to train them to follow. And that it's almost like Karate Kid when he told him to do, wax. And he didn't want to do that. But what he didn't know, that he was teaching him how to block. My father was a karate expert as well. 3rd degree brown belt in Shorai. So I know about the moves, and I kind of use them when I'm directing as well. But you're training them. And you will hear them when as you're training them and you're giving them movements and everything. Hey, Dolores. That's my cousin. But anyway, you're doing movements and they will learn to follow you, and you're training them, and you will hear them start to blend. And that's a beautiful sound, because sometimes you can give them one note and you will hear 5 different variations of that note. Okay? We won't even get to harmonies. Train them to do that. You're training them to hear what you're doing and follow what you're doing and singing properly at the same time. There will be times you may use your rehearsal to just do that. I have dedicated my rehearsals to just having them doing it, and they just did it over and over and over. We changed it to E, to ah, to O, to oo. And after a while, they start hearing how, oh, okay, I got it. I can see where you're going. Sometimes you may have to do that. Make it fun for them and do things to encourage them to work together. Because what you have to do is get their ear, their bodies, the sound, the movements, everything working together. Okay? And it will take time. I'm not going to tell you that it's going to happen tomorrow. It won't. But over time, if you're persistent and consistent, you will hear it. You will hear it. And it'll give you a gratifying feeling to hear your choir start falling in place. Okay? That's another tip. My third one is the easy one. And I'm going to have to do a part 2. Facial flexing. Raising the eyebrows, smiling. That helps. Trust me. Because a lot of times when our choirs are singing, we don't understand what they're singing, because we basically talk somewhat lazy. We don't. So when you have them doing facial expressions and flexing and stretching and whatever with their faces and raising the eyebrows, and doing things like that, that helps stimulate the muscles in the neck in the face. And also it helps them when it's time for them to pronounce the words. It is. Because a lot of times in our choirs, they don't pronounce the words. We don't know what they're saying. You know, you looking at the audience and you wanting them to respond, but they don't know what the people are saying. They're not breathing properly, they're not standing properly, and they're not speaking properly. So as you're doing your warm-ups and your vocal, the techniques that I've given you, you're training them. You're training them. You want them to be able to do it perfectly. So as you have them with the face movements, all of that, you're exercising that. Believe me, I did all of this with my choir. They thought I was crazy for a while. I told them there's a method to my madness. Really, there is. And over time, they begin to see. Have them to do that. Facial motions and everything. Of course, you have to do it in order to get it over to them. But if you do that and train them to do that and have them when they speak and say a word, have them to pronounce it. Exaggeration. I had to do that with my choir. Whenever we say a word, doesn't matter what it is, I made them exaggerate the words. Hello, how are you? I am fine. When we would sing a song, he's sweet, I would tell them, I want to hear the T's, I want to hear the V's, I want to hear every consonant. So, for those, they were kind of like, is this a speech class or what? No. Well, yeah, it is now. But I want people to understand what you're saying. Because I don't know what you just said. So have them, and so that's part of the facial motions, where you have them to say every word. Exaggerate it. Exaggerate. He's sweet. I know. Oh, he's sweet. I know. You know what? Because if you have them to exaggerate it, when they actually sing the song, because you got to factor in nervousness, yeah, they're going to be nervous. So when you factor all of those things in, you're going to understand them 70% of the time. You might get a couple of consonants, might be off, but you'll understand what they're saying. You have to have them to exaggerate. This is all part of vocal techniques. You have to have them exaggerate. Some of them you can have them to yawn, stretch the jaw, not too well. I'm exaggerating right now, but you know what I mean. Eyebrow lift, smile. I have to tell my choir to smile all the time. I'm like, would you smile? My God. Because they think we're serious. No, smile. Because you're actually exercising. You're loosening up, releasing the tension. And then eye roll, roll your eyes, and that's important. Oh my God, I'm almost out of my 30 minutes because I promised to keep these to 30 minutes. So you know what? I think next week we're going to have to do voice techniques number 2. But you have to have them to roll their eyes. You know why? If you're a director like me that moves from one end of the stage to the other, you can't necessarily move your head all the time. You know what I'm saying? So they practice moving their eyes over there and then back over there. So when I'm moving from one spot, because when I'm directing, I may walk over to the sopranos and talk to them and say, I'm getting ready, because I change songs all the time. I may practice in choir rehearsal. So they know when they see me, my choir, they don't move their whole heads. They just move their eyes, because I practice with them, just move. Like the doctor, they tell you to follow. So that's what they do. They follow me, unless I'm way on the other end, they might turn a little bit, but basically their eyes are the only thing that's moving. They still, clapping, but they're just moving their eyes, as I go along. All of that's part of it, because if you got to move your head, you're cutting off the air. You are. If you got to move and do like this, you're restricting the airflow. So with their talking, they're singing, whatever, and I move over here, they just move their eyes. And then they move them back, and no air restriction or anything. They just keep moving, and whatever they're doing, and that's how it is. It's real simple. Trust me. You all probably sitting there going, "Oh my God!" But it's very easy. Seriously, once it becomes a part of you, it will work. You know what? People don't take time to teach like this. Oh, well, thank you, Melissa. Thank you so much. I'm hoping that I'm helping people. Because I know my mom was a choir director, and I know, but I just feel that, people will just do better if they know, if they know. So recap, do the warm-ups, do the warm downs. When you do your warm ups, invest in one of these pianos. It's not acting right today. Normally it's louder than this, and I even got a speaker. Okay, it's not acting right. But invest in one of these. So and one more thing, let me throw this in there. Okay, I'm thinking of things as I'm talking, and I'm really gonna end this because I want to stay within my 30 minutes. I don't want to drag it out too long. But when you warm up with your choir, and I'm telling you to get one of these, or you can use the keyboard if you want, but do it a cappella. Do it a cappella, especially those of you who have mentioned to me that you want to teach your choir how to do harmonies. Do the monotones first. Get them to sing in perfect unison first. You know what? If you have to go back and get Kirk Franklin, the reason why we sing Someone Asked a Question. If you have to go and get go get that song. It's better that they sing in perfect unison than for you to have all of these different shades of a note going on at the same time. Because, it'll be frustrating to you and it'll be frustrating to them. But when you warm up with your choir, I suggest, that's just me. Now, but I suggest that you do it a cappella. That way you can hear and they can hear. And if you want to take it one step further, have a voice recorder. Let them hear how they sound. Okay, because sometimes you can tell them you're not sounding right. That's not the right note. And, they get frustrated because they're thinking like, no, you just being too extra. No, I'm not. We are not being too extra. Okay. But if you let them hear, my choir was the same way. When I initially told them, had them going through this and they were looking at me like, is she serious? Yes, I'm serious. So what did I do? I recorded them. I said, okay, I had them to sing everything I just did. I said, let's do this whole thing. I recorded them singing. Oh, when I did that playback, they were like, oh, we sound that bad. Yes, you do. Record them. If they start giving you trouble, I'm just telling y'all this worked for me. They start giving you trouble and start talking because you being too extra, record them. And play it back in the mics so they can hear it in the speakers. Then they won't think you crazy after all. They will get on board. Trust me, they will get on board because nobody wants to sound bad. And some of the choirs I found out, if they do, they don't know it because nobody ever let them hear. But I promise you, let them hear themselves. You will see a shift in the atmosphere. I promise you. I hope I helped you. I have to do part 2 next week because I have notes, and I only did maybe 3 or 4, and I wanted to give you more. So I'm hoping that what I said tonight helped you. I really do. I really hope that it helped you. So click like and share if it helped you, or it can help somebody else. And on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. I really hope you enjoyed this. We're going to do part 2 of the vocal techniques. Let me know. Give me some hearts and some likes or whatever. And leave your comments if there's something else that I need to review or expand on to help you. I don't care. As long as I'm here helping you, I'll give you the information. Because as I'm helping you, you helping me. I'm looking at the time. I'm like, oh my God, I got to get off here. So I appreciate each and every one of you. I love all of you. I thank you for tuning in. And I hope you have a wonderful evening and a wonderful day. Thank you, Melissa. Me too. I'm excited. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful rest of the week. Have a wonderful Sunday. If I find another tip that's interesting, I'm going to leave it. Thank you for the hearts. Oh, thank you. If I find another tip that I think is going to be helpful, I will leave it out there so that you all can read it. And I really do. I'm glad that I'm helping you all. And I really hope that one day you send me a video and let me hear how your choir has progressed. I want to see progression. I like to see choirs do better. I did that for one choir. I personally went to their rehearsals and I helped them. And actually, they turned around and they won a competition. Yeah, they did. And I was so excited. I'm like, oh my God, because they were the laughing stock of everybody. Everybody was like, oh my God. So I went there and took them under my wing and I worked with them and they actually came in first place. So I'm pretty happy. Yes, I am. So I said, well, let me take this show on the road. I appreciate all of you and I'm cutting off now and we'll see you next week. Vocal techniques number 2. Peace.